being banged up a little bit at running back. I think it was Thursday, we started giving him some reps at tailback for today, you know, and actually he ran the ball very well. He's got a natural ability to do that, and I think that he's going to continue to learn that position. He might as well, because right now he's in that running back room, he might as well be learning it and getting reps, and I don't know if we'd have got through the scrimmage without him playing running back.
Where y'all at with center?
We're working Isaiah Wynn, we're working Hunter Long, and we've been working Cablano a little bit, the top three guys. Cablano is getting work not in 11 on 11 type drills, but in some of our, you know, offensive, defensive line work. So, you know, we're trying to iron out what's the best.
I'm sorry. Speaking of concerns in the fall, I mean, you're going to have a new center and a new quarterback. Is that not sort of frightening?
Yeah, I mean, you really up the gut and want to be veteran if possible. You know, I think the good news is there's a lot of veterans around those two positions that are at least a lot of guys with a lot of playing time. You know, if it does end up being Cablano, would be a guy who's played a lot of football. You know, I'm not sure that yet. But center is still a little bit of a mystery to us as to exactly where to go with it. But I think if we work all three of those guys, we'll have an answer. We'll have some depth.
Did you work those top two guys with the ones today, or no?
Isaiah got all the ones, I think. Cablano didn't get any. We put Cablano in there one day in 11 on 11, probably before we should have, and had too many exchange issues, and so we didn't want to bog down the scrimmage while he's still ironing that out. But we're getting him a lot of work, like I said, in the offensive line, defensive line drills, and he's getting a pretty good hang of it. He's a left-hander, so it's a little bit different for the quarterbacks too.
Lorenzo was it's always interesting the transformation of freshmen, especially from freshman year to sophomore physically. Lorenzo was talking, he looks a lot different, he looks a lot bigger, and I think he said he's like up to 243 from 223. Or what do you see, is that translating on the field, or you
Yeah,
get something special
Lorenzo's,
in there?
he is absolutely a great-looking player, no doubt, and we want him to continue to grow and gain weight, because he's so long, we think he can put more on his frame. But you said he went from 223 to 243 or something?
So he said, yeah.
So, I mean, that's a significant gain to this point, and but he really, I mean, I think he could, I mean, I don't want to sit here and say what his playing weight ought to be, but if he's 243 right now, he could be 260 pretty easily, in my opinion, and still be, you know, athletic and a lean-looking guy. I think he'll always be a lean-looking guy, at least in his youth. I mean, I think he's continuing to, or he's keeping his speed and his agility and all that. I don't think that'll be a problem. I think he'll only get faster and quicker and stronger as he grows.
What are you expecting or looking for from Barber this year as your punter?
Well, I just want him to get to where he can relax and get in the groove and do what he's capable of doing. He does have a lot of leg strength, leg talent, whatever you want to call it. I mean, when he does it right, it's been good. But he was very inconsistent at times, and we had to, you know, throw Adam in there a couple of times to calm things down. And now Adam's gone, so I really don't know what to do as far as a number 2 punter right this minute.
Could Ramsey punt?
He probably could, but I doubt we do that. But we need to. We got to find another answer. You always have to have a second team punter no matter what. But I really hope he has one of those years where he's really he gets in the groove and he stays there.
Do you expect to keep rotating the quarterbacks like they said it's been happening in practice, or will you?
I don't know the answer yet. That's kind of you just got to sit down and evaluate that as we go.
With the influx of the new coaches on the staff, did you do anything differently format-wise in today's scrimmage?
No, we actually we added 1, 2, 3. I think we added 3 series, 3 drives. We just went more plays than a year ago. And I think when that scrimmage was over, like, man, that was fast. You know, we thought we probably didn't have enough plays last year. We made a note of it, you know, and, we, you know, when you're installing an offense and, as it's being put in, you know, 1 install is fine, 2 installs, it gets a little foggy, 3 installs, you start forgetting the first install, and, you know, so it gets a little muddy there for a minute, and then one day we worked, well, 2 days in a row, we worked hard on red zone stuff, which was new. And I just didn't see a lot of, again, there were plays that were like, man, that looks good, you know what I mean? Then there's a lot of them, there was just 1 guy, 2 guys not quite getting it. And in offense, if 1 guy messes up, you got problems. But today, they executed better. I mean, it wasn't a dominating performance by any stretch, but there was a lot less of the self-inflicted wounds, and we looked more like an offensive unit today.
Justin Scott Wesley had a pretty big day. I mean, does he seem to have come back from that injury that's kind of kept him out for the last couple years or year and a half?
As of right now, he looks good. I hope he's continuing to gain confidence in that. Just got to keep him healthy and keep repping him. And I'll say this, not that I want to get back negative, but we dropped a boatload of balls now early on. First 3 days, I mean, I had the quality control guys say, tell me how many balls we dropped in these 3 practices. I think we dropped like 90 balls.
Is it because of a different pace of ball?
Well, one day it was raining, and one day it was windy, but it's even so. We just dropped too many balls, and it was not receiver, it was receiver, tight end, running back, full back. You know, we just were dropping so many balls, and you know, we might have dropped a couple today, but overall we caught the ball well. And if you do that, you got a chance.
You had said at the outset of Coach Shoddy coming here that he was going to learn the offense and as opposed to, but now the players are talking about there's a lot of new stuff.
Yeah,
is it bigger change than you anticipated, or is it just them trying to grasp the terminology for doing kind of the same thing?
I really wasn't 100% sure what to expect on that part. My main thing was the philosophical, the way we think about running the ball, the way we think about protection, the way we think about concepts. You know, that was more important to me than actually what we called it, because I know whatever you call something, if you call that enough times in a row, everybody gets it, you know what I mean? So if it's the same concept with a different name, sometimes it's wise to make sure the guy that's going to be spitting out the plays is real comfortable too. So there was a little give and take in there. We kept some terminology from before, and when there's a new, you know, even like offensive line terms, you know. If a line coach is, some guys say scoop and slip and whatever, and some guys say A, B, C block, and actually, you know, if you sit there and you're open-minded, you say, and he says, well, this is how I call it, you're like, yeah, well, that makes sense. Let's call it that, you know. And then there'd be some things that we'd call a certain way, and go, you know, that makes sense. Why don't we do it that way? And then if there's a tie, you know, you probably lean towards not having to teach the player something new. So there's a lot of give and take in there.
In terms of your you know, wide receiver situation, where does Isaiah McKenzie fit in there for you now?
I'll say this about him. He's more than just a guy that you throw a little bubble to, or you hand him a speed sweep, or, you know, because a lot of those guys that are smaller in stature, jitterbug speed guys, you kind of manufacture ways to get them the ball, and they're not necessarily a legitimate down the field receiver, but he's a legitimate. And when I say down the field, I'm talking about all the routes, the slants and the curls and the outs and the flags and the posts and the takeoffs and the dig route. I mean, you know, he's a versatile receiver. He's just not very tall. I mean, bottom line, but he's fast and quick, got good hands, tough. I don't want to brag too much on you, Isaiah, because I want you to keep doing good.
And Jarvis Wilson, pretty good?
Well, those guys are, I'll say this about the mid-year kids, they're talented guys, learning what to do. But, you know, just from a, you know, the talent base, do we think they have the tools to be really good players? We really do. But, you know, to say how good they are right now, I mean, they're just, their heads are still kind of spinning right now. And they're dealing with a bunch of newness, college life, college classes, football, different athletes that they're competing against that they have not had to compete with before, new concepts. I mean, it's a lot on those guys, and it's just day 7.
Is that one or two more?
On Thursday, Quincy mentioned that Fatone was doing a really good job of showing leadership on and off the field. How important is that quality of leadership in determining who's going to end up being the starting quarterback?
Well, your quarterback has to be a leader. There's no doubt about that. And you know, Fatone is a good leader. He's a hard worker. And you know, when Quincy's saying off the field, I'm just assuming that's a really good sign that he's making good decisions, or maybe trying to help other teammates make good decisions. That's just my guess. And we need a lot of guys to do that, but you know, absolutely, you want to have a guy that the players respect, and a guy that is willing to step up and lead.
Coach, you guys signed a really big class this past year. When you're watching the film of practice, you're watching this scrimmage go on, is there any position you're looking at and you're thinking, we need Summer to get here, we need some guys to come in?
Well, we're really hurting at receiver right now, just numbers. And we might have had another ankle sprain today. I forgot who it was, but we were down to 8.